Hello.
Hi, Shakeel. Good to see you again.
Uh,
Welcome virtually on
Hi,
the
thank
stage.
you.
Hi.
Thank you.
Shakeel, tell us a little bit about what is it that you guys have done at KAUST with the technology that we're
Right,
talking about right now.
right. So right now I'm in Sydney, Australia, and it's way past midnight. But yeah, what we've done
We're
in
very
KAUST,
thankful.
yeah, no, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I just had some issues with the visas and stuff, so we thought we'll just do it virtually. So at KAUST, what we've done is we have a watch list of 17,500 employees, students, workers, and we use Smartface for access control. We use them for um, having every morning about 8,000 people come into KAUST within 40 minutes. So there's a huge list of people trying to get in. How we would achieve that is since 2 years, just before COVID, we got Smartface implemented, and it really helped us with our access control. Yeah, it used to be like it used to take a very long time. Some people would wait 40 minutes, an hour. It was very difficult for people to get in because we had like speed styles and stuff like that. Now what we do is we just find the odd man out in a crowd, and that's how we control the crowd coming in. So you have a little bit of a presentation. I don't know how you want me to do this. Should I just get started?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Show us the video.
So I just want to take you through the journey we had. So we started off just before COVID. So just before COVID came in, this is how our officers would get into the buses, and just using a regular iPad in less than a second, just detect people. So the photograph on the right is the ID photograph. The one on the left is the actual photograph. So we did this for about 6 months before we were ready for when COVID struck. And when COVID struck, they were like, hey, we need you to make it easy for people to get in without actually having the proximity. So what we did was right after COVID, when COVID struck, one weekend we just went and got some stands from the market, and we literally put it out at the buses, and people would come around, very quickly get detected, and walk back in. And we were shortened staff, so we just had about 10% of people coming into KAUST. So yeah, that was the second part of the journey we had. Yeah.
Okay, so your example is exactly the kind of example that I was asking Robert about. So people don't come to work 24 hours in intervals, right? They all come at the same time in huge numbers, and kind of getting that traffic going is the challenge in all of that. How are you dealing with those peak times right now? How is that going? How is that user experience currently?
What we're doing is we're having a lot of mobile units, like you just saw. So at peak, we just have extra officers manning this and making sure that these are happening faster than they should. So I remember when we first started, I'd like to give a shout out to Robert Isaac. I think he's a great guy, and he really helped us with the implementation. And I'm not just saying this, I've been knowing Robert for 3 years. So it's a funny story how we met. We were at an exhibition in Chicago. I think it was called the GSX Global Security Exhibition. It was the last day, and we were going to find one of the vendors we had a meeting with. And me and my colleague from KAUST, we happened to see Innovatrics in a very simple booth. It didn't even have any marketing, nothing. I think it was one of those chance meetings, and I remember it was 5 p.m. Everything was shutting down. It was like just before the drinks come out, and we met Robert, and we told him, hey, this is what we've done. We've got these drive-through environment. We've got these cameras set up, and we got really excited. By the time we came back, we set up the servers, and there was no looking back after that. Yeah.
It's always these chance encounters that are a start of something beautiful, right?
Right, true. So I'd like to show you my last video. This is the drive-through environment, which really gave us a headache. Let me just try it. Yeah, this one. So we have like 4 cameras at the entrance of KAUST. So KAUST is a fortified compound. And when you drive through, you see the cameras on the left and the right. They literally detect you. This is the old version of the Smartface. And they detect you in less than a second. You don't have to show your ID. You don't have to do anything. We know who you are. And getting the angles and getting the timing of this, it was really difficult. Like the lights, what is the, like, I remember Robert was called in to the university. It was like we were going to call off the project. We said, okay, it doesn't work at night. And we put on the night vision cameras. We put on the night vision feature. And what happened was when Robert comes in, he said, there's enough light. We don't need to have these night vision cameras on. And we switched it off and it worked like a charm. It's still working till today. So yeah, it's just some of these things which take a little bit of time to get going.
You opened an interesting question right now, because you're saying that your system needs to be operational 24/7, and that also means in different kind of conditions, so different light conditions, everything. What were some of the other challenges that you had with building up a system that is kind of reliant all the time, 24 hours a day?
I think we've had we don't have any issues with having the system up all the time. KAUST has a very good infrastructure. I think the challenge initially was at the gates, the lighting conditions, and the mornings are, there's this one point at 8 o'clock when the light just hits the camera directly on the lens for like 5 minutes. So those 5 minutes gave us the worst 5 hours of our life. So we had to move the cameras around and the poles around. So yeah, it was just, I think it's an art and science, this whole drive-through, and it just takes a little bit of, getting used to. And once it's there, it just works.
It sounds like the whole system kind of uplifted the whole security system at the university. What are some of the next applications that you're looking at? Because we were talking about this today. Once you have the core, the spin-offs are kind of easier, right? So what are some of the things that you are looking into currently?
So right now we're working on onboarding. So we have 58 nationalities in KAUST. So people come from all over the world. It'll be lovely to have their IDs ready before they show up. So we've gone digital. We don't print IDs anymore. So right now, the way it works is the relocation coordinator would email pictures of you and your spouse and your kids before you relocate. And then, we'd have the IDs ready. But we're working with Robert to have the digital onboarding toolkit. And we're pretty excited about that, and I think we're almost there. We want to use DOT only with trusted group of people. For example, people whose visas have been issued, those kind of things. Not with visitors. That'll be our first phase, and then eventually we'll move with visitors and those kind of, outsiders.
You told me yesterday that in the campus, people work and study, but they also live there. So it sounds like there is a different kind of things that are happening in the premises. So probably the application for also different kinds of things is limitless for what you guys can use it for, right?
Yeah, we use it really, really innovatively. For example, just last week was the 92nd National Day of Saudi Arabia. And before, when they would have raffles, everybody would write down their names on a piece of paper, and there'd be a physical raffle. What we've done is we've got a digital raffle. So when you walk in, you scan your face, you're in. We have iPads all over. So once you're registered, we just do a random generator, and then we call out prizes. So that's something really exciting, and people love it. We've done that for about 7-8 events now, and it's a real crowd puller.
Before I go any further, if you guys have questions, I would like to see them on Slido. There's still an active poll ongoing on the Slido, so if I can get the questions, that would be great. I don't know who the moderator is for the Slido. Shakeel, another question. We were talking a lot because we were going in different kind of traveling around the world today with some of the solution that we've seen, and we've heard that in some parts of the globe there might be a pushback against biometric data being collected about you by different kind of organization. Is that something that you guys had experience with as well, or was that a pretty smooth process for you guys?
For us, whenever we have onboarding of any employees, we have these non-disclosures done. So, for example, we would be using your face for your IDs and any sort of analytics. So we already have this ticked off. We are thinking of moving towards the compliance part of it. I think that's the next part of the agenda, and especially for the European visitors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there was when pandemic started, there was a joke going around asking people in the companies who's driving your IT transformation. Is it your IT officer or is this pandemic, right? And it sounds like a lot of what you guys have put there was also because of the pandemic, not taking the kudos from the IT officers, but it sounded like that was, again, not a thing that was nice to have, but something that just became an essential thing. If people want to come to work during pandemic, you need to have a place or a way of how you check them without the physical presence. So you needed to move fast, is what I'm guessing. But tell us, how long do standardly that kind of product or that kind of projects take? What would be your experience? How long did you guys take to make this work?
We were lucky in the pandemic. Our digital transformation was accelerated because of the pandemic, and rightfully so. Like, for example, people were scared to go in and take photographs of if their IDs were expired. So what we did was we renewed the IDs for another year. When newcomers came, we started taking pictures of them and giving them digital IDs, so no more physical IDs. So our transformation was accelerated, and we were ready for it because we had already implemented Smartface like 6 months before the pandemic hit. So we were lucky in that aspect.
All right. Before I let you go, I'll go back to Slido. Do you plan on using Smartface as an access control system to access different buildings within the campus? Is that something that you guys are looking at as well?
That is the next thing we're actually actively talking to Robert about, and we're keen to use face recognition cameras. I know Robert's implemented in his office and in many partners, so we are looking into that, yes. Right now we have legacy readers from HID which are out of date. Our university is 10 years old, so we keep replacing a lot of them. So I think it's time we already have a budget ready where we want to go on and upscale it to the next level.
Shakeel, I'm sorry we didn't have you here live, but it was still wonderful to chat with you and have you as a part of the discussion. The campus looks beautiful. There were some people extending invitations today, so I hope that I can squeeze one of you as well. So we're invited to the campus, right, in case we want to visit?
Yes, you are. Just send me your pictures and I'll get your digital IDs ready.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Shakeel. It was wonderful to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.